Hey, we're live. This is, I've lost track of time, Tuesday, February 18. Elly hosts the show Investigators. You can find it live on Facebook or you can find it on YouTube the next morning. I think she does it at 9 Eastern. She's doing the Clinton crimes on Friday nights. I'm waiting for Elly to join us. I just sent her the link. I'm running a little behind. I had a lot happening just a few minutes ago. I'll wait for a few more people to get on. I do have a little bit of an update on Larry. I forgot to bring my Bible down. I was planning on reading you a couple chapters, and I may look down and try and pull it up on my cell phone. I was reading Psalm 27 and 28 this morning, and all I could do was weep and think of Larry and just cry out to the Lord on his behalf. There's enough of you here now. I wish Elly could be here so she could hear this, but I can bring her up to date after the show. I did get an update on Larry. His family needs privacy for what they're going through. And so there's, my freedom to say much is very limited. Hey, Elly.
Hi.
Welcome. Oh, you look gorgeous today. I was just giving an update on Larry. Somebody met his wife yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It might have been this morning. And I got a text about his meeting her or seeing her. I have hope. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But if we have any hope of Larry coming back, folks, it's going to need a massive amount of prayer for a miracle. The situation is dire. Safety is of the essence. I can't say anymore. I can't. I don't know much more, but I have to say that I cannot in this space say the tiny bit more that I do know. I have always said that I will keep everybody informed, and I am doing my best to hold my promise to you on that. So I have hope, but it's going to take a miracle. His family needs our prayers because this is a really, really, really hard time for them. He has given some information to Larry did, to friends, a couple of people, to do our best to carry on his work if it becomes necessary. Elly and I will keep this going until we have no hope that he would ever be able to come back, and we will keep things going with what we know. There are others that have been given certain directions as far as I know, and I will do my best when the time is right to bring one of them on or more to share, what we know to keep things going. So that's as much as I can say. Again, I have hope, but the situation is dire, and a quick prayer is not sufficient. On the conference call last night, we had 4 wonderful prayers said on behalf of the family and our country. We need to keep that up. I can't do any more today. I have spent too many hours on the phone today, and I have got to get more accomplished. And
I got a whole list for you to call.
A list for me to call?
Yeah. I'll let you do all my calling for this afternoon too.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. First of all, if you are a prayer warrior, I don't know when somebody's going through extremely desperate times. I don't know how comforting it is to hear that people are praying for you. I don't know if that's a comfort. I know when things are really dire, you go into shock. It's you're going through grief, and when there is grief, one of the stages is anger and rage. One of the stages is just bottomless sorrow. And if the family is in either one of those places, it will be very hard to hear that we care and that we're remembering them in prayer. On the other hand, whatever you do, I'm going to suggest a note. But whatever you do, I'm worried that if she hears people are praying, she's going to be freaking out that I'm telling too much. The fact that I say anything at all, I'm sure, makes her feel like her trust has been violated, which is probably why she doesn't contact me. So maybe it's better not to write to them and just pray. If you feel led to write, I will caution you as a therapist, or at least as a person with therapeutic training, I will caution you to keep it to one line. And I don't know what else to say other than that. The address is still up on the website. I haven't written to her because I haven't known what to say, and I have not felt that anything I could possibly say, even in one line, would do anything but make her mad. And so I haven't said anything yet. You do what you feel God leads you to do, but I caution you, don't be preachy. The family can't take that right now at all. Keep it to one line. You might say Mary Ellen is keeping the show going. We miss Larry, and we're praying for you, and just leave it at that. And just address it to Mrs. Larry Nichols. I wouldn't say more than that. Please don't. When I say one line, I'm serious. One line. And if possible, at least include $1. That's important. That's important. I guess that's it. Oh shoot, I forgot to bring the phone number over. I got the phone number for Bill Barr. I'm gonna click myself off, Elly, and let you start. You don't need to see me get up and walk away and go get the number. I'm gonna get Bill Barr's number I think it's on the kitchen counter, and I forgot to grab it as I walked by.
You sat in paint, huh?
Why?
Because you don't want us to see you turn around and walk off.
No, it just feels rude to be getting up and leaving. Somebody came to my door a month or two ago, and I got called on the carpet for how unprofessional I was. So if I leave you here and I exit for a second to go get Bill Barr's number, Bill Barr needs to know that we are praying for him, that we support what he is doing. And so a short, sweet phone call, just dial the number and just say, please let Attorney General Barr know that we have his back and we're praying for him, and that's enough. So I'll be right back with Bill Barr's number.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was talking yesterday how Bill Barr is going to start those investigations, and it looks like it's going through, but there was some added to it. It's also now added about Comey McCabe, and Strauss. All three of them now are under new investigations, or he could be turning them over to those U.S. prosecutors that they were talking about. It's all in one little bundle. I mean, they said 5 plus more, and I counted 7 yesterday, and you start adding these people to it, and that's 10. So, that's why I said, we need to hang in there, because, I mean, justice is moving very, very slowly. And you have to realize there are still Clinton operatives in the State Department, as well as the Department of Justice, as well as the CIA and the NSA and the NSC. And I like all those abbreviations. But then when you ask me what they are, I'm like, let me think on that one.
Washington, D.C. loves its alphabet soup.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to say the phone number out loud. I will, after this is over, put it in the description box below. I don't think it's there right now. So if you call Barr, the number is 202-514-2000. Now, I have not called and verified that number. So if it was a mistake, this is something I copied down from somebody who was somebody else on Facebook was asking people to pray for him and to call with a message of encouragement. Look, when all these federal prosecutors, former federal prosecutors, I'm sure they were Clinton appointees. My guess would be, I don't know, but my guess would be, considering what we've had in government in the White House for the last 20 years, I would think that. Is it 20? No, it's 24 years. 12.
More.
Yeah, 24 years or more.
Larry Nichols will say that the Clintons were putting people in office in Washington as soon as they left here.
Oh, their first day, his first day in office, all federal prosecutors, as soon as they got back to the White House after the inauguration, he fired all the federal prosecutors and put his own cronies in.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of these retired federal prosecutors were, I'm guessing, but of course I'm guessing, and I'm just wondering, but
they're all
when you consider who has been put into office over the last 24 years, I mean, prior to the 24 before Trump came in, I'm sure they are upset, because if this, any effort to drain the swamp is going to create a tremendous stir. And so they want Barr out. They want him to back off because they don't want their stuff coming out. I mean, the amount of corruption that needs to be cleaned out. I don't know about you guys, but my mind is absolutely boggled to realize how much stuff goes on that we had no clue about. And there are still so many good people who don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to face it. It's just too hard to handle. And so they hide and they stay quiet. But, we can't, you don't do surgery and cut something open without knowing what you're dealing with. And in order to clean house, we've got to know what's going on. And, the one thing I will appreciate that I think came from Q is the fact that it was very important for the public to know what the truth was before anything can be done about it. Because, to take these people out and send them to jail when people don't believe, it takes time. With this level, it takes time for something to happen. So I see we've got some, first of all, I'm going to repeat Barr's number, 202-514-2000, 202-514-2000. No word from Larry, but a word from somebody who saw his wife. And I can't give, I was told very, very little, but folks, I cannot tell here I'm sorry, I cannot tell here what I heard. But I will say the situation is extremely dire, but I hold out hope, and that's all I can say. That's all I can legitimately say. I am very concerned about violating any sense of privacy that the family is trying to maintain. And I don't want to incur ire that I am stepping out of bounds. And so if information is coming from his wife, and I know what a private person she is, I can't violate that. And although I have told you guys that I will tell you what I know when I know something, I just got word a couple hours ago, 1 hour ago. So this is hot off the press information. I hold out hope, but the situation is extreme. And so I am fasting today because of this. It is just to that point that I'm a little surprised that I've been able to manage, because the last few days I've tried and I just couldn't. And if you have the ability to fast on Larry's behalf, do. I was weeping yesterday over not hearing anything. It was very hard for me to get through yesterday's show, because half an hour before the show started here, I'm calling it a show. I prefer to use the word program, but before coming on with you here yesterday, I just was overwhelmed with the need to weep, and I didn't know why. And last night when we were doing the prayer that continued, we have to hold out the faith that we have faith in God, we trust God, and I pray that Larry's mission is not finished, and that he will be able to come back one way or another. But it's going to take an incredible miracle. And I had guessed yesterday in my prayer time, well, Lord, you're just doing whatever you have to do. And I was saying this to the Lord yesterday with no knowledge of anything at all. But today it was confirmed that what I was praying yesterday was right, that, God is doing what God is doing, because it will become more and more obvious that if he's able to come back, it will have been a God thing. And
it's part of the plan.
Yeah. I mean, I have felt this from the very beginning, and as the situation gets worse and worse and worse, I cannot think about the details. I will not wallow in the negative details. I won't. I'm not going to go there. I have hope and I have faith in a God of miracles. And I believe that as we get closer to the end times, there's going to be an increase in signs and wonders and miracles. And I believe Larry's going to be part of that. I have felt that very strongly for 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. And I believe that his mission is not just political. I think he has another part of what he's meant to do. Mm-hmm. And, I intend to be part of helping with that, helping him finish his mission. And that's one of the reasons I have done everything I have done. I have tried very hard and given my best, given my all in many respects, to help him finish what God has called him to do. I like the supportive role. I mean, I don't mind being out front, which is obvious when I'm here with you guys, but we're not even going to consider discontinuing
Mary Ellen,
at this point. Yeah.
I just want to let his viewers know that I did talk to Larry, and I told Larry to let me help, and he did question me on a lot of stuff that I know, and I know a lot, I've continued and I've investigated probably a lot more than Larry, because I went in different directions. He lived it. I investigated it. And I want to let the viewers know I'm not going nowhere. I'm in this for Larry. And I have told him, and he really, he thanked me for it, that when he can't go on, I'm going to pull up my big girl boots and I'm going to carry on for him. And there's no quitting for me. You know, if Mary Ellen wants to break, I'm willing to step in, and I'm going to tell you guys what I know and you know, bring forth Larry in all of this, because if it wasn't for Larry Nichols, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't know what I know if it wasn't for Larry Nichols. And everything that he has spoke and done, I've listened so carefully. I have a huge notebook, probably it's about that thick, full of Larry stuff that I know from him. And I don't even have his book yet. But
I have file folders of stuff from.
So I'm here for
no, not
the viewers.
I have 3 file boxes, not 5 folders.
Well, I probably have about that in all the investigations, because I have just about as much into Linda Ives, which is Larry Nichols. And then, of course, BCCI, and that's, you know, a whole other thing. But I am here for you guys to carry on Larry. I mean, I don't look like Larry. I think I'm a little prettier than him. But I'm going to carry on for him. And until my dying days, I will carry on his info and Linda Ives' info and the corruption that they did in this state until on my dying days. And my family knows this. And they're willing to support me on it. So, no, I'm not going nowhere. Never worry that this is going to end, because, you know, I'm going to keep going. And hopefully, you know, with Mary Ellen and myself, we can go and go and go. And then when Larry's able to come back, he, you know, and can, you know, I'll step back for a while, you know, but I'll always be here. And
I have another prayer request for you guys. Jim Jordan is in Jerusalem. He went up to the Temple Mount with Congressman Johnson, I think his name is, from Louisiana, and their wives. And they went, sorry, I hope that's not styrofoam in my throat.
You want to drink my coffee?
They were on the Temple Mount with Rabbi Glick. Rabbi Yehuda Glick is allowed to bring folks up to the Temple Mount on Tuesdays, and he has been allowed to be on the Temple Mount and prayed when he's bringing guests up to, you know, as a tour guide. They arrested Rabbi Glick when he was there with Congressman Johnson and Jim Jordan. And Jim Jordan was detained. Now, as far as I know, Jim Jordan was not arrested, but Jim Jordan was detained. There was a picture taken, and Jim Jordan was not in the picture. And so there is some concern with somebody here who I know who's a friend of Rabbi Glick. And so I was watching my friend's video this morning showing the scene of Rabbi Glick being arrested. The Israeli defense soldiers were watching, but they don't have permission to intervene. And so it was the Jordanian soldiers that arrested Rabbi Glick. He's part of the I'm not sure if he's still part of the Knesset. He was part of the Knesset. He may have been voted out. He is from the Judea area. Anyhow, pray for Jim Jordan. Pray for Rabbi Glick. I do have Rabbi Glick's email address. So if anybody wants that, send me a text message and I will look it up and get it to you. Investigators MM is on
Want me
Facebook
to
and
tell
on
them?
YouTube. There's a picture of a fist that looks like fire.
That's on my Facebook. If it's Facebook, it's Investigators. If you're looking for me on YouTube, it's Investigators News.
Okay. Plural investigators and plural news, both. So I am going to post right now the congressional switchboard because I don't know Jim Jordan's direct line, but the congressional switchboard 202-224-3121. I would suggest calling Jordan's office, let him know that we're praying for his safety while he's in Jerusalem. And yes, I'm talking about Representative Jim Jordan. He was detained after they arrested Yehuda Glick. And so be praying for his safety and his wife's safety. I don't know why, Johnson and Jordan were there. My understanding is that March 17th is when Netanyahu goes to court over the fake, what they're trying to do to get rid of him as well as President Trump. So we'll keep that in mind and be praying for, Netanyahu. Pray for peace for Jerusalem.
Yeah, they're still firing rockets over there. I did a report this morning on my news. The Palestinians, Hamas is still firing rockets, and they just don't stop. And after so many, then Israel fires back. And the thing is when Hamas fires it, they're firing it into southern Israel and the farming community. So the chance of them hitting people. When Israeli fires back, they are firing upon military compounds or ammunition bunkers or military equipment. And the thing is while Hamas and the Palestinians are firing these rockets, Israel is actually sending humanitarian aid into Gaza, medical supplies and foods and that for the people that they have turned their backs on because they're so into war, and even helping them flee. But and then they're helping them and then they get fired upon. They help them and they get fired upon, and it's awful of what they do over there.
And do you guys realize that Hamas, the word Hamas, is in the Bible? It is translated in our Bible as violence. So no wonder the Hamas are violent, because the very word means violence. And when you see the word violence, I know specifically, I can't remember. See, I wish I brought my Bible down here. I may have to take myself offline again and go get my Bible so that I can tell you exactly where it is, because there are at least 2 verses in the Bible that uses the word Hamas when it's talking about violence against Israel. And one of them is somewhere in the teens of the book of Psalms, or somewhere between some, I don't know, it's prior to chapter 23. That's all I can remember. I read it last week, and I've got it marked in my Bible which verse it is, and so I could find it very quickly if I had it down here. I'm going to go get it, because I would love to share chapter 27 and 28 with you near the end. So take it away, Elly. You got 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
I'm going to give you 20 minutes, and then I'll spend the last 10 minutes in Psalms. I'll be right back.
Well, that, and what I was taught by quite a few of the teachers that I learned my Bible history and archaeology from is they all told me that everybody has a psalm, and you just have to look through Psalms and you'll know it when you read it. And I thought that was wonderful. So, that's something for y'all to look into. The show, it's under Investigators, and I do Good Morning with Elly is my morning show. My brother does Q reports, And I've discussed, my feelings on Q, and I know Larry and Mary Ellen, I know their opinion on it. And then I have I would call a Patriot show on Friday nights, and it's right about 9 o'clock Eastern time. And right now I'm going over Clinton crimes for a couple weeks. The Patriot show I use for the criminal acts in our government or corrupt government or stuff that I don't think people know that I found out. And then I do global news, world news on Saturdays. So, and I post a lot of my morning shows on the YouTube, but all the other shows I do. It's me, myself, and I when on my channel. And so I'm pretty much the head admins, and I schedule all the showings. I make all the wonderful little wildlife and short videos. I do those myself. I've done some on planets and weather and sand art and that. So I do all that on my own. So I run it and post all of our news sources. So if you get our Facebook page, what you'll get is really good news stories from all the different news media that support Trump. We are Trump supported, and we're conservative news. And then we have our special shows like Friday. And tonight it's a 2-hour event, and we're going to go over Ukraine and what had happened. So if you guys want to, the times, Elly in the morning is, it'd be 11 a.m. Eastern time. Then Friday night, it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time, in the same way with my world news. Now, when I post it to YouTube, it's going to be later. It's usually an hour or two later, just because it takes me so long to upload, because I got to upload my show, and then I got to transfer it to where I can upload it to YouTube. So it takes a while. And a lot of people catch them on the next day. But if you want to watch it live, it's on Facebook. You're going to have to add investigators on Facebook, and that's where you could see it live. And I do like I do here. I go over topics, and anybody I see in chat, I keep an eye on my chat, and when they ask a question, I usually stop, I answer their question, and then I go on. A lot of people don't do it that way, and they say it, like I said yesterday, it's like, I'm the Kool-Aid guy running through the walls, but I have a lot of fun. So I hope that kind of explains how to get to where you can find me. So now if you're going to do YouTube, which is investigator news, you're going to get shows that I have already done and posted. If you want to watch it live, you're going to have to get it on Facebook for now. I'm working on my new studio, and once I get my studio in place, I'll be able to do live shows on YouTube. I'm just holding off until I get more organized here. So it's only a few weeks away. I got all my new stuff coming. Everything's like FedExing this way. So we'll see how it goes.
I found the verse on Hamas. It's Psalm 11. Hang on. Psalm 11, verse 5. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked and those who love violence, his soul hates. And that word for violence is Hamas. And it's also, and I told you the other day about Psalm 5:5, where it says, bloodthirsty and deceitful men, the Lord of, no, that's verse 6. You hate all who do wrong. And then verse 6, Psalm 5:5, you hate all who do wrong. Psalm 5:6, you destroy those who tell lies. Bloodthirsty and deceitful men, the Lord abhors. So the Lord abhors deceitful men. We got a lot of that going on in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not saying that the Lord abhors the deceit. It says he abhors the deceitful men, the people who are doing it. It is the so this business of God loves everybody is absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. So yes, Psalm 5, 5 and 6, and then Psalm 11, verse 5. And there's also another place where I think there's a place in Exodus where the word violence refers to Hamas. The biblical word used is actually Hamas, but is it any wonder that this is a violent group? I just thought when I heard somebody mention that in a message or something, I wrote it in my Bible because, every time I read through the Bible and come to Psalm 11 and see that word Hamas under violence, it's a reminder. I know it's once a year.
They might be using it for that, Mary Ellen.
Huh?
They may have used that just for that.
Oh, it have coined the term for themselves for that very reason. Yeah. I mean, they're a very violent group, and we know that, and it's the whole meaning of the word.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many places. I had a Strong's Concordance at one time, and I don't have it right now. But either that or I brought it for my daughter. In any case, I don't have it right now. So I haven't had a chance to look up the word violence and see how many places the word is actually Hamas and how many times it's a different term. Sometimes in our English we have one word and it means different things, whereas other languages might have multiple words. So, all right, so much for theology lesson. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I like giving tidbits of info that I find. And, my viewers are going to tell me I'm paying more attention to y'all because you guys keep getting it first. And I forgot to give it to them this morning. But it's something I found in some documents that really blew me away because I always thought the Democrats were always after Trump and the Republicans and Republican politicians. Well, I had watched Dan Bongino last night. And when he pulls up documents, of course, I freeze it and I read it. And I like to read names on it because he don't always read some of the other names. And sometimes those other names will lead you to bigger investigations. And he was reading about when Steele had got the information from Russia, and it was stuff that was passed on. And it was false info from Russia, but it's supposedly it was a message that came from the Kremlin. And so it was on that Colonel Flynn had been speaking with the Russians and emerging conversations with the Russians. But it was what was behind it that really shocked me. Is behind where it said Colonel Flynn, it said and others. And it said and others meaning Jill Stein. They were trying to pull Jill Stein in on the Russian collusion in 2016. And, that's who everybody voted for that was independent. So, I mean, that is just, awesome news because now we know, not really awesome, but it's great news to know because now we know it's independents are going after too. So if they would have if let's say Jill Stein had made president, they would have had the dossier after her too, but it would have been a man that, the first report was Trump with the 2 prostitutes. It would have been Jill Stein with male prostitutes getting even with Obama. And it would have went then on to the dossier of all that collusion. So even the independent party was pulled in on this. And, Obama went after the Tea Party. So it doesn't matter. So it's not just Trump and it's not just the Republicans. It's anybody that is not Democrat. And, that is really a need to know because we could almost combine with the independent party because they're against them.
That really makes me feel I don't think she needs. I'm shocked at my saying this. Okay, that makes me feel sorry for Jill Stein because Hillary used her for the recounts in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, and I think there was a third state that they were doing it, but especially was in Michigan. Um, Hillary got Jill to do that, and if they are actually going against, and when you think of how closely Hillary was working with Putin for the uranium one, oh my goodness, she was going to make sure that. Okay, I'm not going there any further.
That and this bail reform. I don't know if Mary Ellen, have you been following on the bail reform, what they're doing? Now they have crooks coming forward, and some have tattoo saying, try to convict me. And then there was this guy that has came out, I mean, totally in the open. And he has been bailed out, they say, at least 30 times now. There's a guy that's robbed 5 banks and has got now on this bail reform. And now there's this other guy that says he's committed 137 crimes. And he says, now get this, it is the Democrats. It's the Democrats that know me well. The Republicans fear me. You can't touch me. I can't be stopped.
This is an illegal, or who is this?
It's some African American guy that's committed 137 crimes in New York. And so the thing about this is now we're looking at Ohio, Illinois, New York's already done it, Michigan, California, and Virginia are all going to put in this bail reform. And this is crimes of, you know, like, I guess, bank robbery, mugging, home invasion, auto theft, petty theft crimes, loitering and stealing, and possibly even severe child abuse and or spousal abuse. So if you're beat up and they send them off, they're just going to file the paperwork and send them back home after their wife just turned them in, and with no protection. Or even think about a home invasion. They come in and they do what they want to your family, and it's okay. And this is a bail reform. And, you know, I feel for these states. This is, you know, and Trump is trying so hard to stop it right now. And that's why I believe a lot of it just isn't sending the soldiers in because of ICE and getting illegals out. I think he's doing this to stop the sanctuary cities and this bail reform. Because I couldn't even imagine. You know, and then you want a gun because the home invasion or auto theft, they could steal your car. Nothing you could do about it. You just have to give it to them. You know, at least, you know, around like our state, if they break into your house, I mean, you can't kill them, but you can hold them at gunpoint. But they got to at least consider like an attack mode on you. But mine is just the spousal abuse, the muggings, rapes. You know, that's going to wipe out dozens of cases out of our legal system of women that have been raped. And to me, it's a, you know, Islamic thing because they rape. You know, the illegals over in Europe, they're just raping these women over there. And Germany has a huge problem with it. And now even the UK is having problems. And they've got Sharia law in the UK. And that's what's got a lot of Americans locked up over there because they try to stand up for their rights. And oh my goodness, you know, we can't have this, folks. Oh, Bloomberg. Oh my goodness. Have you guys seen the new news on him? You remember he said that we couldn't have soda pop. And then he is saying that it's okay that dead people die without old people, that Medicare needs to cut them off so they can just die. That was the other one. And then the farmers, he called them stupid. Yeah, and well, you know, See, I'm all over the place with you guys. I just see a question and I'll answer it. Uh, yeah, the Virginia, they stopped that. They were able to stop the ban or stop the guns being taken. So, but no, we need to do something about this bail thing, because it's being passed by the governor and the Senate and the Congress. That's why I say it's so important. You got to get on these mayors to get these sanctuary cities out. My own governor, which I'm not enthused about because he was during Clinton era, is even going to sign in a sanctuary city. And I've called and called and called, and I guess I'm fixing to go down there with a camera and get him, because we don't want this. And it's almost like he's overrode us on it, and he's just going to do it anyway. Let's see. Yeah, Sweden has thousands of rapes. You know what got me is when they all stormed into Germany, and Wayne Simmons, let me write his name down. Okay. And I see stuff like that, I always write it down and then look into it. Maybe if it's a good enough story, Sherry, I'll throw it in my news or do a big old research on it. But when they got into Germany, there was a welcoming committee of women with signs, and everybody was welcoming them in, women, men, kids, and they came in and just immediately started raping them. And I was, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that here, welcome, and then they get raped. And that's just how these guys are, when I did, and a lot of them are ISIS and rebels. When I started looking into the migrants that were coming across, there is just no women. And they're saying they're fleeing their country. And my point on the men fleeing their country because of how violent it is and socialism, and they say they're doing it for their family. Well, why did you leave your family in a hostile country for you to come here and be safe? It never did sound right. And then I started seeing that it was a lot of rebels and a lot of ISIS that was fleeing out of the Middle East that was working their way in. And that's what's scary. And there was even in San Diego, they were finding ISIS and MS-13 that were claiming they were 15, 16-year-olds when they were actually mid-20s. And it was to get into the high schools, not only to recruit, but also to be able to do school shootings is what they were claiming. Yeah, we have local elections in March too. That's real important. Keep an eye, because they did say some of the senators and congressmen were up for election in March. So you got to get in there. And the other thing is so important about voting in March is the GOP does a tally. And what it does is when you vote, it tells them approximately how many people are going to vote for Trump. And it shows the real number. So be sure you get in there and you vote on March 3rd. So I got little one here.
March 3rd is Arkansas and Super Tuesday.
Yep, they have us down. I got my notice to be able to, where to go to the sports center, and March 3rd. So I got to get a hold of the GOP office again, and I'm going to go out and see if I can either do some petitions or go out there and do some signs and talk to people. And I have to talk to this one gentleman. He's a good friend of mine, about becoming my cameraman. And, because I was just going to set it up on a tripod, but I'm afraid with the colleges that someone's going to come by and take the camera. and, you know, break my stuff, because they're getting really violent. It's getting to where when they set up the Republican tables at the colleges, they're being torn up now. There's been 3 of them just in the last few weeks that were tore up, and the people were spit on. They took all their stuff off the table. They flipped the tables. They've punched people. And then, of course, the new one that wasn't even at the college, where the guy took his van and ran into the whole booth. So
now, is that happening at UCA as well? Or
no,
about colleges
here,
across
but
the
they're
country?
real. They're the thing with UCA, we got Hendrix, we got UCA, and we got Baptist. And I know Hendrix. All the well-to-dos go there. In fact, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Hanson brothers. They were singers. Doo-wop. I don't know. They're young kids, cute little boys. They went here. Chelsea Clinton went here for a while when they claimed she was going to like one of those big schools. She was actually here. I think Carrie's kids might have went here, and I heard Joe Biden's daughter had even went here. But they are really democratic, and real hard democratic. So I'm thinking they seem kind of peaceful kind of people. So Hendrix would be one. UCA, I'm not real sure. But you know that a lot of the professors here and the administrators are all Democrats, and they're pushing it. And so I'm hoping I don't get attacked. I'm hoping to listen. What I'm hoping to do is get in and talk to the kids at the high school in some of the classes, and then start on the colleges. I seem to have a good enough personality that they listen. You know, I've tried it with a few college students when I've run across them in town, and they seem to listen to me, and they seem to be interested on what socialism is. They're real confused, and that's what's scary. The young kids think it's going to be them getting college tuition, them like getting grants so they can buy cars. They're going to get reduced or next to nothing on rent. A lot of free stuff is what they're thinking, you know, in medical. And it sounds better to them, and that these programs will be put in place to be able to help them so they won't struggle like their folks, is what they're being told. And it's nothing near what they are so lied to. And it's the professors that are doing this at these colleges. Actually, Sherry, you know, I got MS, and my hands are very, very weak. And I tried gun after gun after gun, you know, to get me a little something. You know, with concealed carry is allowed here. And it just got to where I had been through case after case and gun show after gun show. And it will really surprise you what I ended up with. It's the ones they want. It's bigger. It can shoot a lot of bullets. And it's the only gun I'm able to cock and shoot without it jumping out of my hands. So if they're going to take these guns, the ones they're talking about, I'm on the list. I'm on the list. So, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for mine, you know. Now we're kind of talking, maybe we should like get me something else, because I can't carry that one. It's a little big. And I'm pretty sure if I went carrying something that big through town that is scaring everybody, they're probably going to come after me. So, and you can't conceal carry that one anyway. But yeah, I do it just because I had a stalker for many years, and it got really, really scary. I was probably more scared of him than the Clintons, because he did call at one time in the middle of the night, And, be so careful with your kids on game sites, because this is where I found this guy. And he actually called and said the next time that I heard his voice on the phone, he was going to be in my house. And I'd be a second away from my head being blown off, pretty much. So, do what you got to do. If you're not a gun person, don't worry about it. Get you some pepper spray. Well, what's
Bear
even
spray.
better than pepper spray?
Bear
Mary Ellen?
spray. Bear spray.
Bear spray. Yes. My son-in-law got my granddaughter a can of that for protection. Bear spray. I had a guy that was bugging me one time, and I carried oven cleaner. I didn't have no pepper spray, but he had me scared. So I just put a can of oven spray in my purse. I figured if he seen the oven spray, he was going to run. So the oven cleaner.
Well, you can get pepper spray. It looks like a big lipstick tube.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, this was way back in the early 80s. So, well, no, probably early 90s when that happened. So, but, being a manager, you do get people upset when you got to let them go. And I'm a good manager. So I could be really good friends with you, but if you're not a good worker, then you need to go down the road and find something you want to do. And see, they're talking Q. My brother does a very good Q. That I have to say. What he does is he does it with current events, and some of the stuff he'll do like Q codes, and he'll read them, and then what he tries to do is show you where it really works with what's going on in our news or what's going on in the military. And I'm not real Q person, because I do a lot of the news, a lot of the government, and a lot of Larry Nichols stuff, and I just never had the time for Q. But the few places I've listened to, my brother does a pretty good job. So if you are curious and you want to look at my brother, he has shows Mondays and Thursday nights, and sometimes he gets me and him love doing these shows, and we have a good time at it. So sometimes he just gets rambunctious, and he does all days. Like he said, I'm going to do one tomorrow night because I got stuff, and I got a lot of really good current news. So so those that added Facebook, you just got to check right about 10 p.m. Eastern time, and he has his shows then. But like I said, I know Larry does not care. Larry Nichols don't care much for Q or Mary Ellen. And
well, the reason is because whenever I would ask Larry about something I had seen that Q was saying, he would say that doesn't work that way. That's not true. So,
it depends on who you listen to, because it goes for all things. It's like I have seen people do Larry Nichols shows that don't have a clue what they're talking about. It was like, that never happened. What? And it's quite a few that are here in Arkansas, and they're just out there, and the first thing they do is they want money. And I try so hard to stick to the facts and stick to what came out in the documents. I'm big on documents, big on make sure you got your facts. And I go through a lot of documents. That's why I said with Dan Bongino, when he put that document, I was on the TV reading the document to find names and people. When you're like us, and you guys, you have to be so truthful with your viewers. It should be your viewers first for a very, very, very long time, and money second. In Larry Nichols' case, you know what? He has been doing this a very, very, very long time. And now he just asks his friends and viewers, I need the help. And I even pushed his shirts and his bumper stickers, because I'm big anti-socialist. In my shows, I tell them, if you want an anti-socialist shirt, or a bumper sticker, I know exactly where you go. Go get it from Larry. It helps him out. It helps him with his medical bills. You know, and that's just how it is. And you have to get the facts. You have to have the documents. And I piss off more Democrats by saying, show me the proof. Oh, they'll show me in, you know, NBC said this. I said, that ain't proof. That is somebody's opinion. Show me the proof. I had a lady one time I went rounds with for days, and she kept showing me what NBC said or ABC said. And they claimed it was accurate, and they got it from this document. And I said, you know what? If you have a viewer that said, where'd you get it? You better be able to pull it up. You better be able to tell them where it's at, you know, and that's how I feel. So I lose a lot of friends and family members because I just say, prove it.
Yeah, don't we all? All right, folks, I'm not going to read Psalm 27 and 28, but I would recommend while you're doing your prayer time that you look at Psalm 27 and 28 on Larry's behalf.
Or tomorrow. Start tomorrow's show with 12 songs.
Yep. All right, so keep praying, folks. We need it. And let Jim Jordan know that please pray for him. Pray for Johnson, too. I mean, Johnson, nothing happened to Johnson today, but that doesn't mean that they're, you know, not keeping an eye on. We know Netanyahu's in grave danger, just like Trump has been with the impeachment thing. They're just trying to get him out because the you know, the New World Order, the one world government, Netanyahu and Trump are blocking that. So be praying for them and pray for Glick, Rabbi Glick, that he will be released. He's probably going to be banned from coming on the Temple Mount again. Thank God he wasn't shot. The Pastor Paul Begley found out somehow about his Rabbi Glick was shot 4 or 5 years ago, and he came to death's door, and Pastor Begley found out about it and called for prayer for him, and somehow was able to meet him, or they got in touch somehow, and Rabbi Glick was just really taken to think that why would you Christians in America be praying for me when I'm a Jew? Anyhow, that they have become very, very close friends, and whenever Begley goes over to plan a tour or to lead a tour, he gets together with Rabbi Glick, and Rabbi Glick has had Pastor Begley lead a Bible study there at the Knesset, and you know, they've got a really close relationship. So to hear that Glick was arrested again today just makes me very sad. So James, you know, that's an interesting idea. Ammonia in a water pistol, aiming for the eyes.
Bleach.
Sounds deadly. Sounds awful. All right. Well, that's it. On that note, thanks, James. On that note, we're gonna say goodbye for today. Thanks for your prayers. I'd appreciate prayer for myself. I'm trying to finish up the packing. I am having to tuck more away than I had anticipated, and it's quite a challenge. And I'm sorry about having to disappear on you so many times here. I had somebody who was laying a floor for me, and the last tile broke, and so we had to put something else there, and I had to go see it and see what was going on. So anyhow, the floor is laid, and we have one behind the door that is close but not exact, but it's good enough. So it'll have to do. It'll take a very perfectionistic eye to see it. So anyhow, I appreciate prayers. I try to get things packed that my health will hold out with the lack of sleep. So thanks for being here, folks. God bless you, and we will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you, Elly, for being here. We'll talk again. Bye.
Bye-bye.